This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
President of the Court of Appeal tackled some very interesting topics today. She looked at your rights and the roles of judges when she made an appearance today. She was speaking to Rotarians as a part of the group's observance of Literacy Month. During the meeting held tonight, she touched on the issue of criticism leveled against judges for being, in some people's mind, too liberal in granting bail. That's where persons once free go out and commit more crimes. She said those who criticize fail to account for the socialization most persons would experience before coming in before the court.
It further fails to take into account the fact that judges are required to follow the law. And so, if a person is granted bail in accordance with the Constitution and goes out and commits an offense while on bail, is it the judge's fault who followed the law? Or is it that the person bailed may have a propensity to commit crimes, perhaps due to his lack of proper socialization? Undoubtedly, the public would be inclined to inquire, before apportioning blame, how many of the persons granted bail have been awaiting trial beyond the constitutionally mandated period and are therefore constitutionally entitled to bail.
Justice Allen was also asked to respond to how justices determine a case being the worst of the worst when they're looking at cases of capital punishment.
The only thing I will say is that the death penalty is no longer mandatory. It is now what is appropriate in the circumstances of the offender and the circumstances of the offense. And it has to be the rarest of the rare, or the worst of the worst, in order to qualify for the death penalty. That is what the Privy Council has said. The Privy Council is the highest court of this land, and that is the law that we must abide by and must follow.
A judge has sentenced 26-year-old Haitian national Joycelyn Similian to 10 years behind bars for robbing a 74-year-old man at gunpoint 3 years ago. Similian's attorney had asked the court to sentence him to probation or 3 to 7 years in prison. However, after considering the aggravating and mitigating circumstances, along with his counsel's plea in mitigation, Justice Vera Watkins determined that the aggravating factors outweighed the mitigating factors in the case. She then sentenced Similian to 10 years behind bars, noting that armed robbery is a serious offense. Similian's sentence takes effect from the date of his conviction on September 9th of last year. Glendon Rowe defended him. Kushina Marshall appeared on behalf of the Crown.
Still in news from the courts, the Curvinelia abetment to murder trial opened today before Justice Bernard Turner. 36-year-old Neely is accused of aiding and abetting in the murder of 17-year-old Enrico Major. He's the son of convicted drug lord Dwight Major and his wife Keva Major. The teen was brutally stabbed to death near the S.C. McPherson Junior High School last June. During today's proceedings, the court heard from a number of witnesses, including the victim's mother, Keva Major. She testified that she identified the body of her dead son. However, she indicated under cross-examination that she did not see who stabbed her son. She then asked the court for permission to leave, saying she could no longer take being on the witness stand. The trial continues before Justice Bernard Turner. Aaron Roll is prosecuting the case. Glendon Roll makes up the defense. Still talking from news from the court, the two men accused of that deadly prison break back in February of 2006, Barry Pacoy and Corey Hepburn, were back in court today. During the proceedings, the court dealt with a number of pretrial matters, including confirming the date for the trial, which is scheduled to open on April 20th. Pacoy and Hepburn are facing murder charges along with causing grievous harm and escape charges in connection with that incident. The third defendant in the case, Forrester Bowe, died in prison last year.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
This is your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm Sieska Adderley. Officials at the Ministry of Financial Services are still working towards accession to the World Trade Organization. Financial Services Minister Hope Strachan recently confirmed that her team is preparing the third working group paper to submit to the WTO's World Secretariat. In other news, the Bahamas Financial Services Board and the Insurance Commission of the Bahamas once again are partnering to provide full scholarships for the associates in the captive insurance designation offered by the International Center for Captive Insurance Education. ICCIE was developed in response to a need expressed by captive insurance professionals for in-depth educational offerings, information on current topics, and a professional designation. The ACI designation has 5 online core courses, which include an introduction to alternative risk financing mechanisms, understanding risk, and risk retention mechanisms. And in international news, the European Commission has laid out plans to clamp down on so-called sweetheart tax deals between governments and multinationals. The tax transparency package proposes that European governments automatically exchange details of tax rulings to try to tackle aggressive tax planning. Each country would have to declare all its tax rulings every quarter. The move comes during ongoing investigations into a number of member states' tax regimes. This has been your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm C.S. Scatterly.
Promoting a healthier you was the main thrust of the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute's Health and Wellness Fair on the school's campus this morning. Today's fair was all a part of the school's efforts in spreading the message about the importance of eating healthy and ways to avoid several non-communicable diseases which adversely affect every single family. Coordinator of Student Affairs Raquel Baffel says the response by health vendors this year was overwhelming. She's encouraging more Bahamians to adhere to the message of living healthy.
We've had almost 30 vendors show up from the community, so it's just a celebration of the fact that people have recognized BTVI as a partner, and they recognize what we're doing to promote technical and vocational education in the Bahamas. So we've had people from Lowe's Wholesale, J-Line Fitness, Weight Watchers, Commonwealth Drugs. It's just New Life Vegetation. It was just so many to name. We just thank them for their partnership with us. Each year it grows, and it's just really a testament to how they view BTVI in the community.
Chief Nutritionist of New Life Natural Vegetation Cell Food, Denavio Sherman, talked about his natural products, which he says has reaped some positive results.
Most of our compounds originate from a tropical source, an organic source, and we've been doing it for a little over 4 to 5 years now, and we've been having great results with people who have diseases or ailments that are regularly not being reversed. So we're reversing a lot of different conditions, and we're here to offer and show people that those conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, most of those things that are prevalent in the society can be reversed.
More than halfway into her reign and Miss Bahamas Universe 2014-2015, Miss Tommy Culmer has resigned her title as the country's premier beauty representative. The announcement made last night in a press release by the Miss Bahamas organization. The press release only stated, quote, personal reasons for the decision. The organization thanked Culmer for her service to the Bahamas and the organization, along with wishing her well and in successes in her future endeavors. On her Facebook page, Culmer posted a message saying, "To my wonderful followers, I take this time to inform you that due to certain circumstances and situations, I felt it necessary to relinquish my title as Miss Universe Bahamas 2014. I thank you all for your support and for your support during this life-changing journey." The organization will make a determination on the future of the title in the coming weeks, as they also begin the process of choosing a new title holder during the Miss Bahamas Beauty Pageant set for August 23rd.
Tonight we head back to Exuma, where scores of visitors flocked to enjoy the island's Heritage Festival. Beverly Curry reports.
Whether it's the tranquil waters or the friendly attitude of Exumians, all of their stories remain the same. This, coupled with increased airlift, particularly from North America, makes Georgetown Exuma a #1 spot for tourists.
The service we get, the quality of everything, the food, the weather, the beach, the pool, and the staff are outstanding.
Yes, the beautiful
really.
People, we must say that for sure. We just love the Bahamians.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the experience of repeat visitors David and Patricia Bursey, who have been making trips to Exuma 3 times a year.
Where are you from? I did not.
Toronto.
Toronto. So when you go back, what do you say to your friends and people who ask you, where you been? And
They all know where we go now. If we're on vacation, we're at Sandals for the last 4 years anyway. The Bahamas is the only place for us to go, actually. It's just fantastic. The sun and the people and the food.
It's easy travel for us. It's just a direct flight, 3.5 hours. So we enjoy that. We can go from the depths of the cold to this wonderful climate, and we just love that.
It's this time of year when many of these travelers make their way here for that memorable experience, only to enjoy our natural resources, sun, sand, and sea, what they have become accustomed to enjoy. Beverly Curry for ZNS Network News.